All right, hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Everything Gay Bagel Season Dose. My name is Topaz.
Ryan Boo.
We just gonna kick it off because today is February 1st, 2024. So we're gonna go through a few of the trailblazing icons, the revolutionaries, if you will, that have paved the way for us to just be who we are and do what we do. And not just us, but many of the queer LGBTQ youth, black youth specifically. We were going to start off kicking it with
Marsha P. Johnson, a revolutionary out of New York who led Forward with Star and Act Up and was a big part of Stonewall. What did you want to talk about as far as Marsha P. Johnson? Like, what are some key points that you found in her story that you want to center on?
Specifically her being a trailblazer and like the entire movement. Like, you think in this day and age of Black Lives Matter and how that is like the current movement, or you even look at it as Pride and what Pride is now, where it's a celebration. The first Pride was a riot.
It was a riot.
So it's like she was the one that was the initiator in throwing bricks through cop cars. It is the pinnacle. You cannot ignore me because now you're going to hear me. You're going to feel me. Now you can't make it to work because your streets are blocked with hundreds of people saying Black queer lives matter, saying stop locking us up, saying stop.
Darling, I want my gay rights now. I think it's about time the gay brothers and sisters got their rights.
Yes, she was there for that. She was there for that.
She started it. She was the pioneer of it. And the fact that of her death, you know what I'm saying, labeled a suicide when it was
And
countless.
open.
And it was countless, you know what I'm saying, not witnesses, but countless accounts of her being not only harassed by the police, but how they would constantly like show up to rallies and show up to the common places where queer people were in New York, you know.
Right.
But it being ruled, and that just goes back to fuck the police.
There you have it. Marsha P. Revolutionary. You had a quote for her, right?
Absolutely, yes. And the quote we have from Marsha P. Johnson: "There is no pride for some without liberation for all of us. Viva Palestine."
And then what I take away from Marsha P, or what I gathered and what I really take a appreciation towards, are her involvement in Star and Act Up.
Now, what are Star and Act Up?
So Star was, if I get this correctly, it was the Street Transvestite Action initiative, and then Act Up had to do with AIDS and HIV in the city. So Star was about protection of street transvestite, like actual street workers. And I mean, it calls to mind for me Honest John's, but
how exactly does Honest John be a sex worker for you? Honest
John's is based off of sex workers. The police would make sure that Honest John's got their girls from there. That's how Honest John started in the city of Detroit.
Stop it.
Swear to God.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think when I think of Stars in the organization, I'll be like, oh, like y'all were keeping the sex workers safe.
I would have to do a little research as far as what an Honest John is, because it just automatically feels like if the John is honest, then what is the opposite?
Jeffrey Dahmer. I mean, might not have been a John, but like, you know.
Well, big ups to Marsha P. Johnson.
Big ups, Marsha.
Starting the way for little niggas like me to be out here living my best life.
Honestly, for real, like seriously, I feel like Marsha P. led a way for you to be you.
Oh, absolutely. She was literally the catalyst for so many like young Black queer trans femme presenting individuals, to where it's like I would love to take like a survey of just, let's say, queer Black femme presenting individuals under 25 and see how many of them actually know who Marsha P. Johnson is and what she has done that has started the revolution that we still continue to fight for this day.
I think
that's why knowing your history is so much.
It's important, for sure. For sure. I have a very fond memory of and affinity towards Paris is Burning, specifically Willi Ninja. So when I think of Black gay revolutionaries that changed the scene and paved the way, I think about Paris is Burning, Willi Ninja, and I think about this quote. And Willi Ninja was amazing at ushering in Vogue and a style of combat without fists to the world vis-a-vis Michael McLaren and Madonna. It was really something that propelled Black gay people from out of the shadows and the dance floors of New York onto the world stage and platform, and made gay more acceptable throughout the 80s and 90s. Willi Ninja was such a pivotal person in bringing us into an age of you're going to live. We got Marsha P, right? And then after Marsha P, we got some of those rights. We got some of those things that let us even attempt to begin to be free. But now this is where it seemed like the fun began. And I really look at that time as like just a piece of nostalgia, the outfits, the hair, and just Willi going through to a world stage that a lot you wouldn't be able to imagine going to back in the 80s in New York City. So you have a Willi Ninja piece?
I would just have to say yes, I am grateful for Willi Ninja and what he has done as far as the contributions to the culture, which is specifically queer Black culture, and like even from him forming a house. But for me, it's about where Willi draws his inspiration from, and it's everything from gymnastics to Vogue to hieroglyphics. You know, all of those where his foundation is. As far as Madonna using Black people, as white people have consistently done over and over, for clout and to get hit. And yes, I understand that because she made the song and it went globally viral back in that day, that's why people even know what ballroom is. But that itself was the deterioration of the culture, because it was no longer confined. It wasn't for us by us. It immediately became a spotlight to where it became diluted. And even though Willi, you know what I'm saying, and he took his house all the way to Japan, and he's been doing all these great things, and I'm all for the integration of it. But as long as the focus is on where it started. And what I love about the House of Ninja is it might be a whole bunch of little white and Asian girls and maybe Hispanic or something. It might not be nobody Black, but if you ask them about the founder of their house and where it started from, they are going to give you Willi Ninja was a Black queer man from New York that did his thing. So just the fact that the foundation of his house still pays that homage to him, that's why it, in my mind, is a Black queer history fact. Or like definitely someone that deserves to be mentioned.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And then the next we were discussing
Audre Lorde. Oh, this beautiful Black lesbian poet that speaks to my heart. Every time I read one of her quotes, it's just like, Audre Lorde is food for the soul, and it's so many different genres. It could be for kindness, it could be for activism, it could be against oppression. Like, she spoke out because of the way, first of all, misogynoir. If you don't know what that is, look it up. But because of the way that misogynoir is set up, her intersectionality being a Black queer woman, and she opened up the box on so many things, specifically like regarding feminism. How feminism, although yes, it is something that affects all women, there was a dichotomy between white feminism and Black feminism. So she often spoke about that in many of her works.
You have to remember that the lesbian gay girls, because that's what we would call the gay girls population, was a reflection of what else was going on, right, around us. And that was the era of, let's pretend this is the best of all possible worlds, this is exactly what we choose, right, and this is it. So like nobody talked about racism.
But she, for me, just had to be mentioned because if we're talking Black queer icons in Black History Month, she's one that more people should know about.
And I will admittedly say I did not know very much about Audre Lorde before tonight. I guess that whenever I used to study Black History Month as a child, it was mainly heterosexual figures that we ever studied. I never even thought to study gay Black figures of history during this month. But however, Audre, things that stuck out to me in reading about her upbringing and her childhood, she was born to Caribbean immigrants. And that has a big factor to play when you talk about being gay. A lot of times, just being gay and Black in a Christian household, let alone some from another piece of the diaspora, so say from the Caribbean, Jamaica, it's even harsher. So like it's even harder to come out. On top of which I read one comment because Audre looks fairly brown-skinned to me. She does not appear to be a very dark-skinned woman, but her mother had a distrust of darker complected people, including Audre. That spoke to me in volumes in the way of colorism and how alive it was even within her own family. So for her to come through all of these struggles, Black, lesbian, and from a coloristic Caribbean background to where she is, you know, a proud feminist and author, I think it's amazing. And I think I will be reading up more on Miss Lorde.
Yeah, I also want to touch on, because you know what I'm saying, we're a full disclosure type of individuals. I did not know a lot about, let's say, all of the people that we are mentioning specifically today, but as I kind of broke out of my shell and when I say was forced to do the research, I say that as like a deprogramming or like an unconditioning of myself. I had to literally, well, not literally, but figuratively peel back layers within myself and get to like the root of who I was. And so when I was at that place of like a raw, like an innocence, I had to look up like, well, there had to have been people that feel like I feel that come before me. And that's what led me down the road of the Audre Lordes and the James Baldwins and even like the Little Richards and the Princes and things like that. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, Prince would not. Prince. We'll talk about Prince later.
Well, no, Prince as far as expressionism.
Expressionism.
To be your full, authentic, 100% Black ass self.
Yes, I can agree with that.
You know what I'm saying?
But when we having this conversation about Black gay icons and revolutionaries, we can't talk about Prince.
Okay, Prince was a Black revolutionary, not queer.
He made it very apparent. And if we go down that rabbit hole, that's a whole nother show.
But we all know his hair was feathered and his booty was shaved.
It doesn't matter. He ain't claim it. Bye.
You ain't got to claim nothing.
Yeah,
you're right. It's not about what you claim. It's about what you did for the people.
Mm-hmm.
So even though you can claim all you want to, but yeah, we'll do a whole Prince episode.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Prince gonna get the burnt bacon that episode.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
You're not about to come for Prince like that.
We can do it today.
We're not doing it today.
Pull out the phones.
We're not doing it today because we're staying on topic today, but we will revisit the Prince episode.
We'll be back in these.
That will be back after these short messages. We already got sponsors, y'all.
It's gonna be nothing but elevator music and a wheel. But yes, you mentioned our next.
Oh yeah. Wait, we got to do some Audre Lorde quotes.
The quotes.
So the quotes from Mrs. Dang. It makes me wonder because Audre lived in I guess like a pre-non-binary world. If their pronouns still would have been she. You know what I'm saying?
If they would have identified that way.
Yeah, like, you know, even with all of like the work that she did and the intelligence that she had with this day and age of like having like non-binary as a term to describe like a two-spirited person, is that something that she might or might not identify with? So just a thought, but a couple of quotes from her. We are powerful because we survived, and that's what it's all about. survival, and growth. And then also, because I just got this one more, unity implies coming together of elements which are, to begin with, varied and diverse in their particular nature. So in my mind, I just hear that and I think unity, how can us as Black people come together if we're still divided by certain things like sexuality or femininity?
Agreed.
All right, and then next we're touching on
James Baldwin, right?
James Baldwin.
So, author.
Mm-hmm.
A very, very difficult time in upbringing. First published in 1955 or 6. Shot it from the mountaintops. And then
Go Tell It on the Mountain?
Go Tell It on the Mountain. See, you better be just ready today, baby. Not the book. I'm talking about the Wikipedia. I'm not even going to lie to you. As far as what I gathered, a lot of James's works were put into cinematic. I Am Not Your Negro. That documentary. It came a lot from
What
James
Talks on
Baldwin.
Beale Street.
So I'm very interested in seeing the things that I
If Beale Street could talk.
if
Damn.
Beale Street could talk. Okay, see, but I look, that's okay. Self-correction is the best one. If I were to go back, I would like to go back and see the influence of James Baldwin and things that I didn't know was there. Topaz, I'm sure you can speak better to this gentleman than I could.
Yeah. So as I said, this is all, stuff I've done within the past, let's say 4 years. So we're talking in a post-COVID world. It's not something that I've always had this information, but when I do my deep dive and I'm a little bit of a researcher. So not only do I want to know where the information is coming from, but how it's proven, who wrote it, and if somehow I'd like to see the actual author saying those words themselves. I digress. With James Baldwin, going through his works, and how he pretty much still wrote from that place of a queer Black man, a queer Black boy being raised in a religious household. I'm sure some of us, not necessarily all of us, may be able to identify with that, even if it's not the same to where you have an overbearing father that's a pastor, but it may be a mother that is particular about the constraints of spirituality and religion. That being said, throughout all of his works, you can feel that not necessarily the wanting to be accepted, but it's almost the shouting on top of a soapbox of, I am here and my feelings are valid. Although you may not understand why I feel the way that I do, I know that there's nothing wrong with me and I am allowed to have this essence and I can be myself and be proud. And James Baldwin literally left and went to France when he did a couple of his writings because he was from New York. And that's where he produced a couple of books, although the titles escape me at the moment. But just that escape, and he writes about how it is so different being a Black man in Europe than it is being a Black man in America. And underlying fact, of course, racism still exists, but it's about the nuances of how the racism affected him in both places.
Is what does a Negro want? And this question masks a terrible knowledge. I want exactly what you want. And you know what you want. I want to be left alone. I don't want any of the things that people accuse Negroes of wanting. And I don't hate you. I simply want to be able to raise my children in peace and arrive at my own maturity in my own way, in peace. I don't want to be defined by you. I think that you and I might learn a great deal from each other if you can overcome the curtain of my color. The curtain of my color is what you use to avoid facing the facts of our common history, the facts of American life. It is easy to call me a Negro or a promising Black man, but in fact, I'm a man like you. I want to live like you. This country is mine too. I paid as much for it as you. White means that you are European still. And Black means that I'm African. And we both know, we've both been here too long. You can't go back to Ireland or Poland or England, and I can't go back to Africa. And we will live here together, or we'll die here together. And it's not I am telling you. Time is telling you. You will listen or you will perish.
It is very nearly impossible to become an educated person in a country that is so distrustful to the independent mind.
Seriously.
Also, to accept one's past, one's history, is not the same as drowning in it. It is learning how to use it. Learning how to use your history as opposed to drowning in it. These are just things that speak to me personally. Like, as I look up the list of quotes and stuff, I try to interpret them in not only something that I hear or like feel, but perhaps something that someone else can resonate with.
I feel it. I learning from your past is how I interpret that.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of staying in it, instead of drowning in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you want to touch on Ruth Ellis?
Absolutely. So, you know, we some Detroit niggas. Think I can say niggas?
Sure. I mean, it's Black History Month.
Oh my God! Why did you respond like, yeah, sure, niggas? So, anyways, so we're some Detroit fellows, and
no,
we're a couple of Detroit folks.
Need some Detroit players. Stay Pink Gators.
I like Detroit players, so fine, we'll use that. Reset. So as you know, we some Detroit players, and we got to keep it real one time for the one time, and we have to mention Miss Ruth Ellis, the oldest Black living, well, at the time, one of the oldest Black living lesbians. She lived to be 101. Originally born in Illinois, but they don't get to claim her. We do, because we where she did all our stuff. Sorry, y'all. So. But she moved to Detroit with her partner. Of course, after the age-old, I won't have no homosexuality under my roof from the parents situation. So came here, one of the first Black women to own her own printing press. She had a gathering at her place that was called the Gay Spot, and it's because queer young Black teens wouldn't be able to go to the white gay spots, and they wouldn't be able to go to the Black straight spots. So she held this place specifically for Black lesbians that allowed them to just unwind and dance, to perhaps have resources at their disposal. But yeah, I just had to touch on her as far as queer Black icons, you know?
Yeah. And then the Ruth Ellis Center is here, and that supports the needs of displaced and homeless gay youth. It was a resource center that's been widely available and used since before Miss Ellis's passing, and it's a great resource for
since 1999, y'all.
Since 99, she passed in 06, right?
Yeah,
I think it was 06, but like, don't quote me either. We're gonna look this up. But, those are some of many. We could talk about, you know, from the past till present. We could talk about Langston Hughes. We could talk about RuPaul. We could talk about Lori Lightfoot. And maybe we will touch on so many more of these, because it's only the 1st of February. Hopefully I get this edited out fast for y'all, and we can do some more before the end of this month. Because remember, Black History Month is the shortest month of the year. We only get 28 days. Think about it.
Black history always.
Yes. Except for June.
Always. Ain't no except.
Except for June, because that's gay month, you know.
We claiming that too.
We're just going to take it all. Anyway, we're going to sign off now tonight. Topaz and Ryan Boo for Everything Gay Bagel.
All right, y'all. I just wanted to jump in and say, please check out the Ruth Ellis Center's website. They're always accepting donations. Personally, I donate a lot of clothes there just because I know that it's going to go into the hands of people that need it, but they do accept monetary donations. So if you're feeling a little generous and you want to help out some folks, check out the Ruth Ellis Center's website. Thank you. Appreciate it.